Hi, everybody. My name is April Walker, and I'm coming to you today to talk to you about some of the battles that you have to face and overcome when you have went through certain traumatic situations in your life. I always use myself as a reference, so this is my interpretation of things I had to deal with and things I had to overcome in order to heal myself from the negative things that I have been through in my life. Okay. After being abused as a child, I found myself detached from my sexual emotions in my body. Having someone cover your mouth or threaten you to stay quiet, to take away your innocence time and time again, does real damage in ways that not everybody can understand. Now, I always, I'm sorry. Now, I say this because after going through these types of experiences, it places barricades in your life that I didn't even know that I had. I was so broken that someone just telling me they love me, even if it was a lie, for them to get what they wanted from me in that moment felt like the best thing in the world. So that was how I looked at life for a long time. And when they walked away, after it hurt even more because I was never shown real love, so I didn't know how to recognize it, needless to say I was fooled a few times. But after that, I changed my mind frame and was like, if they only want one thing, I only want one thing. And that's how I would carry it. If I see a guy and I liked him, I would just approach him, me being me, and just ask him, hey, can I jump your bones? But that was me. But I say this to say, sex to me then was just an action. It had no emotion, no love, no intimacy. And I had to break down those walls and allow myself to feel completely the pain, the anger, the shame, and the guilt for not being strong enough to fight back. Not being strong enough to keep talking even when no one wanted to listen. Not being strong enough to hurt the same people who without a second thought hurt me time and time again. And for not being strong enough to not normalize what was going on through as if it was a childish game. But I can honestly say that I wouldn't, if I could, change anything that has happened in my life, because through the pains and heartaches, it has taught me so much about who I truly am. And it also taught me how to be a good mother, a good friend, a good partner, and a good wife. But overall, just how to love myself completely, flaws and all. Because I am perfect just the way I am. I see no pain, so I try my best. Excuse me. I know pain, so I try my best not to cause it. And I know love, so I give it freely. I know regret, so I live with purpose. And I know intimacy starts with words, clear, direct communication. Excuse me. Then when you get deeper, it flows that understanding for another person's feelings that they are entrusting in your hands. Then there is touch, because there is good touch and bad touch. What works for one person, the next person may not enjoy at all. That's why you get to know your person completely, inside and out. So you never have to bump heads on the simple things. Not saying you won't have a disagreement, but that's only because as you get older, everyone changes. Moods change, patience changes, love changes, and your love language changes also. So what you used to do when you were in your 20s to get and keep a man or woman isn't going to be the same once you have lived a while and experienced different things. So don't try to stay in one thought pattern for your life, because we all have to grow. I'm not the person I was yesterday, much less the 20-year-old version of myself. And every chapter of my life that I have experienced helped to mold me into the brave, loving, strong, spiritual woman that I am today. And that is why I know God has a bigger purpose for me in this life. That's why no matter how many times I fall, I get back up. I always have, and I always will. I spoke to a friend of mine today, and it's crazy that for so many years we lived so close to each other, but she never came to my house. And I went to hers maybe 3 times in this life. Twice when she was alive, and the day that she was placed in the ground. Now today my son was doing his SOL testing, and I was sitting in the parking lot waiting on him to finish, and I could hear her voice as if she was sitting in the seat beside me. And I crunk up and drove across the street to her grave. Now, she and I always talked about our kids and how much we loved our families. But today she told me something different. She said it was time. Excuse me. And I said, for what? And she told me, for what I always dreamed of doing. She said, God has been showing me signs, but everything is pulling me in so many different directions that I couldn't slow down my brain enough to hear. So she said she volunteered, to reach out to me today because she could feel me so close. And I knew I would recognize her voice. And she knew I would recognize her voice. I'm sorry. And I am so grateful that she still loves me enough to think about me in my time of need and open my eyes to what God is placing before me. Now, I started writing this over the weekend, and something made me stop. And what made me stop, I'm pretty sure, was the experience that I experienced today. I'm the type of person where things don't always have to make sense for me to do it, because I feel like if if something is telling me that I need to move to the left, or I need to move to the right, or shit, I need to go climb this ladder, me being me, I'm gonna do it. Whether it ends good or it ends bad, I'm gonna do it. Because I believe in trusting my own intuition, not always having to be led by someone else. So, I was able to finish this today because a dear friend of mine, who I considered my sister for a very long time, and will always consider her my sister, reached out to me to let me know, not to let me know, just to clarify what I already knew. That it's more that's meant for me than what I thought, or what I had become to think, because it seemed like everything was just at a standstill. But no matter how many times I fall down, I always get back up. My name is April Walker. Thank you for listening.